Good morning. How y'all feeling after last night's excessive amount of cheese? Right? Pretty good? I actually woke up pretty refreshed. It is beautiful up here. It's my first time here at the Insider Summit. Really delighted to be here. Let me bring you up to speed quick fast on who American Family Insurance is, if you're not familiar. We are a property and casualty insurance provider. In the Fortune 300, we sell the classics: homeowners, auto, life insurance. We also sell small business, farm, and ranch capabilities as well. We are approximately $12 billion annually in revenue, and so it's a pretty big organization. This brand in particular operates within a 19-state footprint, but our enterprise that has a collection of brands, including the General Home Site, which is a white label capability, and we recently acquired Main Street America, and Ameriprise Insurance, which is distributed through Costco. So AmFam, again, is distributed in a 19-state footprint via an agent capability, but the enterprise covers all 50 states. So today we'll talk a little bit about AmFam and the chatbots specifically. So I have to say, I'm here in Utah enjoying this wonderful weather, and my husband is at home with my 10-year-old and my 2-year-old dog, who's still learning good behavior. And the floors are being refinished, so I was feeling a little bit guilty, and I know what they were doing last night, because this is what happens a little bit every night, right? The 20 minutes before you're getting ready for bed, and you turn on the television. And my son and I have this argument for the last 2 years about whether or not YouTube is TV. And I concede that I've lost. He is right. YouTube is now TV. But it's also a search engine. It became the #2 search engine this year behind Google. So it's just amazing how these channels are merging together. Also an Amazon shop or Whole Foods. Any Prime members out there? It's got to be more than that. It's like in this demographic, it's like, do you buy electricity? Yes. It's the same kind of question, right? And so we have Alexa at home too, and my nephew's always telling me that I should turn off my Alexa. He's in cybersecurity on the East Coast. He's studying cybersecurity. But truly, if Bezos wants to know what my suburban household is talking about for Christmas and so on and so forth, I will happily give up my privacy in exchange for my ability to have a ready person to take notes when I need a grocery list, somebody that will tell me the weather on demand, and somebody that will turn on music so that we can calm the 10-year-old when he's having that emotional meltdown. Right? But even though we have all these great channels emerging, trusty email is still the leader. We're still seeing that because people still check it as the last thing that they do before they go to bed, the first thing that they do when they get up in the morning. Well, at least if you're an adult, right? The kids don't check their email. And it carries great power. So 60% of consumers say they've made a purchase as a result of marketing message they received via email. And it's very holistic and very integrated. And so today I'm going to talk a little bit about virtual assistant and how email creates that nice surround sound enabled personalized capability. And we'll talk a little bit about AmFam Mary specifically. So I'm learning the clicker. Ready? Here we go. So we talked about how email has great power too in many ways. McKinsey tells us that email is 40 times better at acquiring new customers than Facebook or Twitter. Yay, email, right? But more interestingly, virtual assistants are increasing at an average of 9% a year. And by 2020, which is in a few ticks of a second basically here, 25% of customer service and support operations will integrate virtual assistants or chatbot technology, according to Gartner. So global research from Gartner recognizes conversational marketing as an independent category, reducing friction, enabling service, improve conversations, and raising satisfaction for customers. And I imagine a future where we'll be able to deliver the chat capability right into the email. So it's all about the customer journey, and I'm sure you've all seen this loop 100 million times. Chat, just like email, chat lives in every stage of the journey, creating benefit, reducing friction, reducing time. New features released to the space have emerged from Facebook's efforts to position Messenger, right, as the default chat-based customer platform. And so you're seeing more and more businesses gravitate to that. And so instead of customers I call it like shouting into the arena via Twitter, right? You think about it just like shouting out to the abyss. They want to make sure that somebody heard them, and when they deliver that message via Messenger, they expect that there's going to be some way for the brand to reciprocate. Chatbots are also increasing brand love quite a bit. Who could use a lift in their brand awareness and consideration right now? Like everybody, right? You're all looking at it. So chatbots are actually delivering 8% lift in brand love over mobile and website experiences alone. So it really is becoming a critical element. And when brands get the chat experience right by making it easy to use, helpful, and fun, it has the power to drive brand preferences in a way email, mobile, websites, and app can't. So interestingly enough, people are starting to prefer virtual assistants. The form-based website capability is significantly decreasing in popularity of late. We're seeing a lot less resistance to people sharing personal data. Just 14% of people would rather fill out a form than use a chatbot. And so once you've got customers buying from you within a chat-driven experience, email then becomes your best vehicle to follow up. So you want to have the conversation and then document what you've agreed to in writing. Just like we do in business, we'll do that with the customer as well. Fun fact, customers who receive branded emails spend an average of 138% more on average than those who don't. So people are becoming increasingly more comfortable with chat, as we've been talking about, in virtual assistant. As we inch closer to 2020, we'll continue to see that comfort level growing. And you can see here, customer, do you prefer interacting with people? That is decreasing. This is a little scary. The question is, do you prefer interacting with people in a business setting, right? I lost my projection here on the bottom. The second one, I'd worried about it. This one is my print here. I'd worry about it making a mistake. There we go. I'd worry about the chatbot making a mistake, for example. And so that one's decreasing as well. And the one that catastrophically fell off is that form-based website capability, right? People just don't want to fill out the form. They want to be able to use the bot and flip back and forth with the question that they want in the order that they want in any particular configuration. So expectations are growing as well. Younger audiences are coming to expect virtual assistant as the front porch for branded experience. And you can see here on the chart how that trend is shifting the younger you get. Because we see more and more people expect the virtual assistant experience, they'll also come to expect a follow-up in visual format, like we talked about the email before. So this is kind of what's happening with the state of chatbot holistically. 87% of the global internet population uses some form of chat or messaging app on mobile unit, and according to the 2018 J.D. Power report, a staggering 42% of customers prefer live chat, compared to 23% for email and 16% for social media. So we're using it for everything from pizza to Planned Parenthood. And while insurance is responding to and building for this demand in various ways, AmFam, as we call it, is focused on expectations being set outside of the category. Insurance, the beauty of insurance, one of the beauties of being in digital insurance, is you get to kind of watch things happen in the retail space and some of the early adopters, and then we build for the future and kind of follow along. So let's take a look at some of the examples of things that are happening outside of category right now that are pretty cool. I have a 10-year-old. You can't get through the toy room without stepping on one of the Lego pieces. Anybody else got Legos at home? It's like necessity. And I keep waiting for him to outgrow it, and it hasn't happened. They say they moved to digital, but it hasn't happened. So I suppose I should be grateful. Ralph is this conversational intelligence capability that Lego built, and you can do everything from shop to search to get recommendations. It's kind of like this empowered discovery strategy that they've built. And it connects and helps build the bridge between the brick and mortar and the digital space. Here's an example from a publisher space. Wall Street Journal and CNN are creating pocket-sized newsrooms for people who either don't have time to browse news websites and follow current events, or flat out don't browse and follow at all. This is a fairly interesting case study that I just finished up in one of post-grad classes I took the last few weeks here. How do we get people to read and consume information and get well-rounded, diverse information? And so this bot is helping people get to a wide variety of news capabilities. I always love Disney for a good example. They just get it right. Disney uses bots to help people navigate the parks, find restrooms. Now that you have the wristband capability, you can actually find your kid via those magic bands. Child's missing, no worry, they're tagged. There's another bot here too. This little bunny here is from one of the Disney movies called Zootopia, Lieutenant Judy Hopps, right? Children help Lieutenant Hopps investigate mysteries like those in the movies by interacting with this tool. And so financial service comes to the table, and when it comes to financial service, the leader by far from a digital experience is Bank of America, in my opinion. Close second, people always ask me, right? I like American Express, too. But Bank of America continues to rank best in class by Gartner L2, and they built out Erica to help their 9 million users manage their finances better. You can pretty much do everything you ever wanted to do with a bank and more, all via this capability. And then, of course, we have the Geico. Can't forget the Geico when you're talking about insurance. Geico has a fabulous app as well. They launched Kate, a standalone app that communicates with customers through voice recognition. Kate's available around the clock to policyholders. She enables high level of self-service. They can, again, do almost anything they might want to do with an agent. And so if you're comfortable as a customer getting your insurance through this highly digital capability, this is a great option. And so that kind of comes back to, like, we have all these great bots out in market that I've given you an example of, but what are the 3 things that really make a chat bot good? The first, I think, is personality, that the chat actually has to embody the brand and build some level of trust with the customer. It has to be connected back to your CRM and your MarTech capabilities so that you can leverage the information that you've received from that customer, remember it, and then respond appropriately in another channel. And then it has to add value to the exchange. You have to reduce time, you have to reduce complexity, you have to get the customer what they want. If you're in entertainment space, it might be that capability as well. And then it's critical to track the activity and incorporate feedback into a loop, just like we do for email, and constantly iterate. You never know what a customer is going to type into those open dialog boxes, and that's an entire presentation in and of itself. Okay. So, without further ado, let's meet AmFam Mary. We call her Mary for short. Mary is 38 years old. She's a Midwestern mom of 3. AmFam is located in Madison, Wisconsin. We are a very Midwestern company. She is a protection specialist, not an agent. Her job is to be an inspirational guide to help you find the things that you're looking for. Transparent navigator. She tells you right up front that she's a bot. There's no question in your mind that you are working with a bot. And should you choose not to work with a bot, you can choose to opt out right away. Most people do choose to stay with the bot. She's a humble coach. She proactively plans and manages and values and understands the importance of hard work. American Family brand is built on insure carefully, dream fearlessly, and we believe a dream is the most valuable thing you'll ever own. So, 3 key things here that we teach Mary and practice to improve her ability to function every single day. Speed, she's got to be lightning fast. Anticipation, what is the customer going to ask next? And memory, when the customer asks something and comes back to talk to you again, she should remember what that conversation was, just like a human that you might have talked to. So then there's 3 things here that we're going to talk about that drive speed for Mary in particular. Mary is a seamless handoff from a bot space to a customer, a real customer service representative, I should say. And that capability has to be really tightly linked. There's questions that are easily answered by a bot, and then there's things that are just so complex that they need to go to a human. And we watch very carefully for when that handoff should happen and make sure that it's really smooth. So we have call center representatives waiting to take chats that spill over from the chatbot that need a human to take care of it. Our first trigger that tells us that it's too complex for her to answer, if you can't ask your question in the characters dedicated to a tweet, probably it's too complex for the bot to handle. So the minute you type more than 250 characters, you go straight to a human. She is designed to reduce time, especially wait time. A lot of times when you head to an insurance company, if you called your insurance company, it's kind of like calling the cable company. It's really not great. And they're consistently rough across the board. But the time that you could spend on the phone, you could wait 15, 20 minutes on a bad day. But AmFam Mary is there to answer your questions almost instantaneously and reduce your hold time even for a chat representative from 2 minutes to 1 minute through an authentication process. So it talks here in the last step here, verification. Every customer that comes to talk to AmFam Mary has to have a verification process done. It's all financial information, so you have to authenticate yourself. So she needs to anticipate as well, and we're looking to stay one step ahead of our customer needs in the moment. As I mentioned before, Mary's looking to accommodate our customer base as much as possible, and a key way to do that is to make every effort stay one step ahead of them, especially at the very least in the moment with them if you can't stay one step ahead. We have added things like the ability to do first notice of loss through a chatbot capability. That is unheard of until the last 12 months in the entire category. You can submit hail damage for your car. You can submit first notice of loss for house events that have happened. You can submit, your billing can be taken care of via the chatbot. You can ask questions about your statement balance. You can ask basic questions about how your policy works. And all of that has been configured into Mary at this point. We constantly watch to see what the highest intent is with the customer, who's asking for a lot of things right now to determine which intent we should build out next. So the third capability here is memory. We need her to remember what's happening. She's covering everyday transactions. She is highly personalized. She can do predictive quoting and binding in the future. We're working towards that. Appointment scheduling. We're looking at voice recognition as a possible capability for her as well. And then the sky's the limit. Once you have the intent, she can be deployed anywhere. So she's currently in the site. She could be in an email space. She could be in an Alexa. She could be in a Google Home. There's all kinds of places she could be. And so it's about teaching Mary to provide predictive insurance quoting, binding and purchasing, voice recognition, agent and claim repair, and more long-term memory push notification and email triggers, such as welcome back. All right. So how does she perform? We've built out all these capabilities. How is it doing in market? When you go into the chat capability on our site or in our app, the first place that you land is with AmFam Mary. She handles 64% of all intents are taken by her. The rest go to the call center directly based on their initial interaction. And of the 64% that she takes, 85% she handles fully contained. That means that at the end of the conversation, we ask the customer if their needs were met, and if they say yes, then we count that as a successful interaction. So that's a really, really strong statistic for a chatbot in market. She's really doing well, and we've managed to build her on what I would consider to be a shoestring budget compared to what you would need to spend for some of your bigger MarTech capabilities. So it's really not that expensive to get some of these things off the ground. Looking to the future, I love Domino's. Anybody use the Domino's digital capability? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Our claims process actually has a nod to some of the digital tracker that exists for Domino's. And so Domino's is starting to allow you to order pizza by texting the pizza emoji. Like we would imagine into the future too, where you might be able to, text an emoji to AmFam Mary and that she'd be able to respond to those kinds of things. I know my 10-year-old is able to have entire conversations with his friend with nothing but emojis. So as you're thinking about moving into this space, or maybe you're already getting started, there's a couple of tips and tricks I would recommend based on our last 2 years of experience building out this capability. Start small. This is a great place to use the same principles that you're using to develop your email. You can test in small spaces. Just because you put it on the website doesn't mean it needs to be opened up to every customer that comes to the website. You can start with a handful of intents, whatever your highest pain points are, and then iteratively build out. Think conversationally. Mobile First taught brands to think about experiences on small screens. This is definitely on a small screen. Bot First means we add conversation to that rather than just the small screen capability. Think about content experiences that are going to drive sales, conversions that can drive a more natural value exchange, and experience that is designed to create outcomes and solutions that customers are really looking for most. And the last thing here I would leave you with is test your limits. There's a fine line between over-engineering. You bring your chatbot concept to the IS team and they're like, I can build this for you for $5 million, right? And then you have apoplexy. So I would say test your limits, but you can test your limits on a shoestring again. Like, this is a really great space to lean into some really slick, small-scale technology and evolve your business and drive your metrics without a huge amount of spend. And so with that, I'll open up to any questions you guys have.
Bethany, thank you so much. Yeah. That was great. Questions for Bethany?
Hi, Bethany. Really great presentation. That was excellent.
Thank you.
2 questions. First and foremost, did you use any kind of white label technology solution to build this? And then what were the financial justifications? Obviously, IT time, so on and so forth. You have to be able to justify less time with customer service agents, so on and so forth.
So our pilot from 2 years ago was deployed on the IBM Watson platform. There were some hiccups with that platform, and IS ultimately determined that an internal build was going to be faster. And so we are on an internal build right now for the chat capability, which is a little surprising. I'm not an expert in chatbot tech. I would say that it always requires like a big discussion whether or not that really is the right choice. Insurance at the end of the day is a promise and a team of people and a tech team, so it's a heavy tech team. So insurance space might make sense, but if you're a retailer, I would question, like, are you a retailer or are you a chatbot, builder, right? So I would think about that. And then your second question for ROI, yes, you must prove your ROI. We focused heavily on time reduction. We have removed 3.4 minutes from the overall average call center time needed, and we've been able to reduce the number of reps because of the chatbot that has been implemented. It took a lot of pitching for people to accept it, and even the resistance 2 years ago, I had several conversations with people who would ask me questions like, are you sure a consumer will even accept a chatbot? Virtual assistant. My team wants me to do virtual assistant and I cannot convert. So so I'd say definitely I would lean into operational efficiency because it's hard to prove out the metrics that I talked about earlier, like the 8% lift in brand, right? Brand love is going to increase. It's just holistically good business, but it can be just like every other marketing thing you try to pitch, it can be a little bit tricky, and so I would go for operational efficiency. Yeah.
Back.
Chris Jenner. Hello.
Hi, Chris.
Evening table mate. You know all my dirty, dark secrets now.
Yeah.
Cheese was delicious. No, but numbers were impressive. As Caesars, we're using a chat bot as well, or virtual assistant, I guess. Or as our CEO liked to call it, a chat box, which I would giggle every time he was up there talking. Anyway, our numbers are nowhere near this. Those were impressive that you've got, like, I want to say 85% of ours are still call center managed, a lot of those. But to your point, funny anecdote, I'm sure you referenced crazy things going through it. Ours has been asked out on dates and things of that nature. It's crazy. People really enjoy it. So thank you for the presentation. It's great.
I want to ask a little bit more about the email, the connection to email. First of all, tell us a little bit about the handoff to email. Where and when are you extracting the email address from somebody who's engaging with the virtual assistant, and what have you learned about making that conversion?
Yep. So vast majority of customers using our bot today are current customers, and because we are the beauty of an insurance provider, I know everything from their hair color to the size of their feet, basically, right? And so email is in there. So I don't need to ask those kinds of questions. I already have it once they're authenticated. I know who I'm talking to. So that's a luxury that I have. We deploy an email verification after every chat conversation that recaps what the customer was told so they have a record of it. So if they got information on their billing or they paid a bill or something, there is, in our research, there is this need for the customer to hear, yes, I've heard you, yes, I've taken care of it, yes, you can check it off your list. And so we use email as that document the same way that you would send follow-up notes after a meeting, we send follow-up notes after a chat. Mm-hmm.
That seems to be an increasingly important point, that the customer expectations are, you've got our data, we've talked to you over here before, don't make us go through the same stuff again. Make sure that you're showing us your ability to take all this data and make a seamless experience out of it, and make the conversation holistic. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Bethany's going to be